it working yet? Hello again and welcome back. We're having fun playing the Unbreakable Speckled band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly...
Herlock Sholmes, that's two different things.
Sholmes was staring intently.
I'll explain that after.
Corner, and he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
Of course, Herlock Sholmes is supposed to be Sherlock Holmes, but they became a Oh,
So then, let us unravel this mystery
there's Herlock Sholmes.
and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me.
I get to use an accent again. Cool.
The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. An cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Herlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
So yeah, Herlock Sholmes, of course, that's a parody of Sherlock Holmes, as mentioned earlier. But he originally came from a Maurice LaMarche novel. For those of you who don't know, Maurice LaMarche was a French writer in the turn of the century, roughly 1900s. He was famous for making a character named Arsène Lupin, who's considered the first gentleman thief character. Anyway, Arsène Lupin was originally fighting Sherlock Holmes, and then Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's estate was like, oh, you can't do that because trademarks. So then he invented another character named Herlock Sholmes, and that's how we got that character. So other authors would use that name for similar detective characters. That's just something I knew off the top of my head. Oh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Don't tell me I'm getting accused of murder again. Yep, looks like it. Wait, I can't move. Yep, accused of murder. Ah, what the... Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, Oh. We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You. You found me then. We found you. And now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, sorry. Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how the cold old the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. One thing I'd like to know from you. Is that Herlock Sholmes? No, it's her. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Sasato? Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Oh, if he's dead, I'm gonna be sad. You pretend you do not know. You're a wolf in sheep's pelt. You're the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin. That was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you're doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. Whoa. Table issue. Again, every time. I swear this game is constantly making my microphone mess up. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please! It's the closest feminine voice I can get. No. No. Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. My microphone is drooping. Are you sure about this? Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Microphone droopness. I don't like it. But it happens. Gosh darn it. Are we getting in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? Ouch. What the heck is up with this thing, bro? Ow. One moment. There we go. Sorry, I had to adjust the microphone arm I'm using. How else could you come with me to England to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed her traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was gonna die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. Sorry, gotta use my deeper voice. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd be broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but he'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. I'm really upset if he died. We will leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. R's are hard to do. No, I'm not a murderer. Duh, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but... murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Ugh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. He really's been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream? And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit could only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, of course, but of course no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn any more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Can anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... he would always wake before dawn to do his training, first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning he'd not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewmen forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside... Oh. There was Kazuma-sama collapsed on the floor. My question is, Susato, how did he manage to fall directly in the chalk? The white tape there shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too. Trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know. And so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. Ugh, my head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. What? Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why did you do this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Oh yes, you did say that. But I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it. I can assure you of that. But I never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama he was saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san. I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. I know Kazuma-sama. I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Fell asleep? Well, yes. So deeply that you couldn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable. Really, I do. But it's the truth. If I'd only woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. I don't know what like anything means as a exclamation, of course, but... Really? My guess is, if it's like the Speckled band from Sherlock Holmes, excuse me, a snake came in through the vent and probably bit him, if that was the case, like the Speckled band, because in the Speckled band, Sherlock Holmes book, there's a snake that a guy trained to move with music, and that's how he assassinated his stepdaughter, I think it was. Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could possibly have done this. Ugh. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Ugh, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hiya! Oh. What the? That was a Susato takedown. Susato what? What martial art form is that? Probably Aikido. I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry, prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to? Have you forgotten already what you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. She expected me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. I just show her my collar? No. That, maybe? Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah! Yes, of course. Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-san thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating here at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry, no. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate here as thoroughly as possible. Thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. All right, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have many doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on the investigation in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he said to work very hard to convince the government. He had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Ah yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look all around using, aren't you? Now let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that! Suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat wherever he was writing. A London diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though his last entry is incomplete. Which means... what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hiya! That's out of the question. That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. Last night was no exception. Just because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Oh, sorry. Investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked. Everything mown down at once. I wonder if... perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps... it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like a mess. Oh, you're messing with the crime scene, damn it. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Bura. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? What are you starting to stare? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I like her. I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside the case. Ah, yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese. Which, in hindsight, I should have realized that the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Sasato takedown. The ink? I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find... Oh, the ink bottle, bro. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked down the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments. Was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? Sort of a brick-line hue. Yes, you're right. It's like the color of a brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Sasato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brush strokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? God, she looks so angry, even though you stowed away on the ship. Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. I like her. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about this crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. You will lose. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. He might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So last night, Did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Yet, of course not. Now and back into corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. What else have I not looked at here? Oh, this is something new. This is, yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon the servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. So I did that. The vent, I haven't seen that yet. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to, you're right. But if its purpose to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way when the seas are rough, or something like that? I suppose. Maybe that's it. What the heck? Who's that? Wasn't he here a minute? He wasn't here a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be a European. Oh, how did he... You noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is, or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall! Ah! Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. Is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press A on people in their crosshairs, you can converge. Yes, I know. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh. This is a critical point in my investigation. It's my other British accent. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings. I hope I haven't kept you long. What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing forward in toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And while the beribboned occupant of his very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. These eyes have seen a lot of love, but they're never gonna see another love like the love that I had with you. Just to be clear, you were talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution, too. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. There's no way I... Hiya! She likes to do that. It's funny. I love that. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. I love this game. It's so good. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing forward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see. What do you make of that, hmm? Well, to be honest, the ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, and observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Herlock Sholmes. Excuse me, Sherlock Holmes. Herlock Sholmes. So, it's really you? The actual Herlock Sholmes? The very same. The inimitable actual Herlock Sholmes. Do you know what this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? So you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No. I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Sherlock Holmes. Please call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rand's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Oh yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you actually are a detective. You really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in a magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I am returning from Asia, having to solve the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle reactions in his subject. Sorry, stuttering a lot. A furtive glance, a twitch of the muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data. Or data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from his data in a blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. And as I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How could he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one and only, Herlock Sholmes. I'm going to save this because I'm getting excited and this is a long video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Yay. Thanks for watching. I will have more of this up at some point in the future. Thanks again. So long.